This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Colby Valve.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 456, West Virginia Overland.
Tonight, Aaron gets a bath, Coy's brakes aren't broken, and Ben is plotting.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. Your hosts tonight are Aaron, Coy, and my name is Ben. And tonight we are joined by Thomas Burton from West Virginia Overland. And welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, Coy,
Yeah.
I gotta hear about how your brakes aren't broken.
I was working on the tow rig this weekend, and I for like the last couple months been like, man, the brakes are about gone. I can hear I have the metal tab, they'll start screeching. It's kicking on, I can hear it. I get all the brake stuff, pull off the front tire. The brakes appear to be brand new. So I've only had this truck like a year and a half, and I don't put hardly any miles on it. You know how the pads on the front and back have the angles? They're beveled. Bevels are still on the pads. So like I have less than 5,000 for sure.
Brand new pads, yeah.
So I don't know where the squeak's coming from. I can't tell, but apparently my brakes are good. Now I starting to get that season, so I pulled the old 7.3 out, gave her the good polish and shine. I bought some window polish. I don't know if you guys have ever used that. I absolutely love it, other than the fact that my arms are silly putty right now from some wax on, wax off, but it makes your glass look like it's brand new.
I've
never used that.
My neighbor
goes on like polish.
Yeah, my neighbor's polished his truck's rear window when he replaced it, and it looks like brand new glass. He replaced the seal around it, I should say, and it's amazing.
It's real. I mean, you don't realize, even if you just use a glass cleaner, how much like road grime and just oils and stuff around there. You get on there with that, and it like, and something else. Yeah, I did the full shiny shine, so he's looking pretty sharp now for a old girl.
Have you got any practice in on the race car yet?
No, I got it already. I just got to finish putting the back bumper on. Luckily my buddy Roy still has all his powder coating stuff, so I went over to his place and we did some powder coating parts. The wing is fully braced up. I have two children sitting on the wing of my race car, so it should be fun. That's next weekend though. So yeah, that's about it for me. What about you, Aaron?
Let's see here. Well, what did I write down? Oh yeah, I prepped my trailer, my Overland trailer, for paint. Got it all washed up, and I need to go. I think I'm just going to keep it the same colors. I like the green. I like the black, although I may change it from flat black to gloss black because it'll probably stay cleaner longer. So going to do that. And then I mentioned last week that I had some brake squeal in the Frontier. I got the parts in for the Avalon just in time. I've been dying to share this with you guys, but I wanted to get your live reaction here on the show. So I'm going to put a picture up on the screen. This is Wednesday at the end of my shift at work. I pulled into the security office parking lot and I heard this ping noise, like, the sound of the clip in an M1 Garand when it ejects the clip. And this was on the ground behind my back tire. That's my brake pad off of a rear brake on my truck. And I knew it was squealing, but I'm like, it'll be fine for 3 days. It'll be fine for 3 days while I wait for the parts for my daily driver to show up. Well, apparently in 3 days, this can happen to your brake rotor. I should have zoomed in on that, but it's paper thin. I'm down to the cooling vanes on that rear rotor.
Aaron, this is Big Ben energy. Like,
look at that.
I
Oh, that's
I'm
worse.
impressed and so wildly disappointed in you.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, it'll be fine for 3 days of squealing. So it was not like this on day 1 of 3 days, just so you know. So in 3 days of driving it, and I'm not easy on my drive. So yeah, so I
Those
let
were
people know.
originally cross drilled, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, yeah, those were cross drilled and slotted. Now they have extra slots. So yeah, I've been waiting. I'm super excited for this one. So I let the guys in the security office know, hey, I'm going to be here for 20 or 30 minutes. I need to do a little modification to my truck. It's broken. And I yanked the caliper off. I went and found a chunk of broken pallet and wedged it in there so that the piston from the rear brake caliper wouldn't hyperextend and blow fluid everywhere. And I zip tied that in. And then I zip tied the caliper to my leaf pack and I drove home on 3 brakes. 20 minutes later, bada bing, on the road.
So what's the other the other caliper look like?
What do you mean the other caliper?
On the other side.
Yeah, the rotor.
Rotor.
No, so it's just this one. It was just dragging like
so is your caliper seized?
It's like a stuck caliper, seized caliper. So yeah, I've ordered pads, 1 rotor for this side because the other rotor is brand new, and then new calipers for both rear because they got 160,000 hard miles on them. So yeah,
What
do you think?
This is like when you're in shop class and the shop teacher cuts his finger off. That's how I feel right now. Like,
I was like, I finally get to do a parking lot fix for my rig. I was excited about it. I mean, I was sad that it drug and it wore my brand new rotor out because I put those brakes on a year ago. So they're a year old and they probably have less than 5,000 miles on them. So
it was just dragging that bad.
Yeah, it was, well, my commute to and from the job site is up over a mountain, and I try to break the Garmin time every single day. So, and
Aaron drives that route like he's delivering tofu at night.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
Good initial D reference.
Yep.
I have all 6 seasons.
So check your calipers. Last week we did an episode on prepping for wheeling season. Maybe check your brakes, tear them apart, grease the sliders. Yeah, that's part of it. Especially if you're doing your brakes. Yeah. So there you go. That's what I've been up to. Ben, how about you? Did you can you top that?
No, not really. Mine's literally just been plotting points of interest that I want to do on my long way home trip. I'm like, my wife wants an itinerary of where I'm going to be, so that I'm not driving all over Timbuktu. So yeah. I'm like trying to figure out where I want to go and what I want to do, and it's a whole lot harder than just doing it off the cuff like I want to. So I'm like sitting there with Gaia and Google Earth and Google, and I'm like, I want to go here. I want to go here. Ooh, maybe we could go here. And now the boys want to go fishing, so it's like, oh, let's go fishing here. I'm like, ooh, we could go fish on the Snake River, and it's like, can I just figure it out as I go?
No.
No.
You need to have a plan. And you definitely need to let your wife know where you're going to be. And you need to let us know where we need to rescue you.
I've got the Garmin GPS. It's going to be with me. So you can just follow along. Like, right? Shouldn't that work?
Oh, you have the Garmin Reach?
Yeah, I've got the inReach Mini. So it's not like I'm just going to be, lost.
Are those really bend proof though? I feel like halfway through you're going to tear the charger in half or something. You'll have the breadcrumb set to every 30 seconds, so the battery on your Reach is only going to last like 4.5 hours. But
no, I've I've got a RAM mount, and I just put it up in the window, and let her go, and then as long as I have it charged, and
as long as he has it charged,
it's-
as
As long as
long
he has
as
it charged, and then he's gonna go fishing, and he's gonna come back. His inReach will be gone, and his catalytic converter. It's just Oregon.
And you got too close to Spokane there, huh?
yeah. No, you need to do it. You need to have a plan, because if you wing it, you don't have to stick 100% to your plan, but you need to have an idea of a route. And even if you pick 20 places to go and you only go to 6 or 7 of them, you have some ideas of where you want to go.
True enough.
Plow Guy Dave says to send smoke signals at every camp spot. Don't do the smoke signals with your 4Runner though.
Yeah, don't burn any spare tires. And I'm also debating upon if I want to use do the Montana or the Idaho backcountry discovery route and go all the way to southern Idaho. It's like, which direction do I really want?
I mean, if you go all the way to southern Idaho, Ben, you're like 6 hours from Moab, so it's like, might as well just you're most of the way there.
I would be most of the way there. I could make it a day trip.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, you got 2 months to figure it out.
Yep.
Start planning.
That's what I'm doing, trying to at least. Very indecisive on all that, though. What about you, Thomas? Up to anything fun recently?
Like we talked earlier, just doing some vehicle testing and evaluation out in the Nevada desert for about 11 days. Playing hide and go seek with some thermal sensors and night vision equipment for a client who's listening to the government.
What part of Nevada?
Carson City area. That's where Nevada
Okay.
Automotive Testing Area is. Yeah, they're probably 60-40 government testing and evaluation, about 40% commercial. So if you have, say, a Tesla electric truck or something, Tesla can take it out there and they do terrain profiles, durability testing, whatever the client wanted. They've been doing our vehicle testing since way before I was involved, probably 40 years, 50 years. Henry Hodges has been around a long, long time.
So is it like just like a big open like woods and desert area, or is it more like you have
Think of
bumps?
it as a bowl. Think of it as
Uh-huh.
a bowl, and the Nevada Automotive Test Center is in that bowl, and they've got different areas. And they'll use either BLM land or public land that they've leased, and they'll develop terrain profiles. They'll put V boxes and information collection devices on the vehicle so they know how many cycles of the shock has happened. They'll put thermal tape on the brakes, brake calipers, anything you want to know about a vehicle, how it performs under certain terrain conditions, heat, payload. They analyze all that and give you feedback on that vehicle. We would use them for durability testing on a lot of our platforms. So we'd send it out for anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 miles of off-road, like not hard pack road, but like off-road testing. They've got different terrain conditions that induce vibrations, so you find weak points in joints, sheet metal, frames, whatever. So they're pretty robust in their ability to test.
Sounds
So
fun.
you're saying the Colorados, when they had that frame folding in half option that came new,
I don't know if the Colorado got tested there or not.
They
but,
possibly did not test there.
If it fell apart like that, it probably didn't get tested there.
That'll teach them.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff up in Detroit. They got a lot of their own test tracks and things of that nature. I think there's like Ford Proving Ground up in Romeo, Michigan, and I'm sure GM has their own test facilities up there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Romeo's pretty nice. I've been up there a couple times.
All those testing grounds always sound so fun and cool, and like even like the regular car ones you see like they've used on Top Gear. Just like I just want to like go take a car around one and drive around for a day for fun.
Fast track testing's always fun.
Yeah.
I feel like those car testing grounds or the off-road testing grounds, they're like stump grinders. I always wanted to run a stump grinder. It looks so cool. And then I got to run one. And 8 minutes later, I was like, it's not as cool as I thought. It's just the same thing over and over. I was like, I thought this thing would mow through it. I'm doing an eighth of an inch at a time. This is a sequoia tree. And I feel like I would be out there till noon. And then I'd be like, man, every part of my body hurts from bouncing around out here. This sucks. And then I'd have 7,000 miles
has a very high turnover rate on their test drivers. They're usually younger guys. And they're like, man, I'm going to go be a test driver. It's going to be awesome. Until you're at mile 3,000 over some like class 4 rugged terrain and you have to keep it 35 miles an hour. It's not like go fast and sexy. It's slow, data collecting, monotonous, repetitive stuff. And yeah, it sucks. It's a lot of sucky driving.
Yeah. A lot of like wondering why there's blood in your urine at the end of the day driving.
Yeah. The military vehicle's not built for comfort. So,
well, it sounds like a good reason for some remote controls for that.
There's some autonomy stuff that goes on out there and a bunch of other test sites.
I'm sure there is.
We've got no voicemails this week, so don't forget 605 spotter. Feel free to call in, leave a voicemail. We usually play them on the air unless it's like a spam call with
actually we did get a voicemail. We did get a voicemail this past week. It was the spam call.
It was a spam call, quite literally spam call. If they would have told me they were a prince and all that, it might have been more interesting. I might have called them back and recorded it, but
I'm waiting for somebody to put our call-in number like in the bathroom stall at a Love's truck stop, and really, that's what I'd do if I listened to this show. But
it's a good thing you don't listen, right, Coy?
Yeah.
We also want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month.
Don't forget, we've got our patches, $13 shipped. They for the first patch, $10 for any additional in the United States, or $10 each picked up from us in person. And they are made by Patriot Patch. And the Lumen Locker patch does indeed glow in the dark. So yeah, there's the Off-Road Podcast patch and the Lumen Locker patch.
Have tire troubles ever left you deflated? Colby Valve has got you covered. Ever have a valve stem leak? Colby Valve makes reusable and easily replaceable valve stems that don't require you to remove your tire from the wheel. They work with your off-road rig, ATV, side-by-side, commuter vehicle, or even your tractor. Never be left stranded again because of a busted valve stem. They also have a tire repair kit for those punctures that keep you away from doing your favorite thing, wheeling. Make sure to check out colbyvalve.com or ask for them at your local off-road products store.
All right, guys, should we jump into the news? This first article comes from CarBuzz. The CEO of Jeep plans to turn the company around. First of all, I love that title. Like, right. I've never seen a CEO that plans on sinking the company. After successful tenure as a CEO of Stellantis in South America, I read his name in my head, but because I read really fast, I just kind of go past it, and now I'm going to say his name out loud. So Antonio Filosa now faces a great challenge, turning the Jeep brand into an international success. The newly appointed chief executive has set some lofty goals, which include doubling global sales to 2 million vehicles by the end of the decade. Filosa says new products like the electric Recon and Wagoneer S will help drive profitability and volume. While Jeep sales have been stagnating, the CEO noted that the automaker saw growth in the first quarter with sales increase of 3% in the United States. While new vehicles are important, Filosa says the company's future growth is based on 3 pillars. The first is to localize production of its current vehicles to bring costs down. He believes that while the products are strong, production costs are prohibitively high in certain markets. And when he says local production, I don't think he means local to America. He means in the global market. Like, If you want to grow in more competitive markets, you need a lower cost base. For example, with the right cost base, the Jeep had a 4.4 market share in Latin America last year, better than the 4% in the US. Second pillar has to do with powertrain flexibility. And while electrification is very important, consumer buying habits have shown manufacturers that the world is not ready to go all electric just yet. Several brands, including General Motors and Mercedes-Benz, have implemented new strategies focusing more on hybrids and PHEVs, not just pure EVs. Previously, Filosa mentioned that of a Jeep plug-in hybrid that would arrive in 2025. This is likely the Gladiator PHEV. This more efficient version would bolster appeal and drive up sales. One only needs to look at the Wrangler 4xe to realize this makes sense. Later this year, Jeep will launch the Recon and Wagoneer S, aiming to sell 10,000 battery electric vehicles before year-end. Filosa describes plug-in hybrids as a good, very versatile transition technology and notes that he covers his 22-mile commute on all-electric power while driving his Grand Cherokee 4xe. The final and most important pillar is having an SUV in important segments. Filosa attributes the brand's declining U.S. sales from 86% to 52% to the loss of the Cherokee. Mid-sized SUVs are essentially a license to print money, and without one, the Toledo-based brand lost out. While the discontinuation of the Renegade did the brand no favors, I think that's arguable that the discontinuation of the Renegade maybe did do favors. Did the brand no favors in terms of sales and market share. The lack of a Cherokee-sized vehicle affected the automaker most. When you lose your main mid-size SUV offer, you are cut off from a segment that in the U.S. alone is worth more than 4 million units a year, which exceeds a good year for the entire German market and is the same size as the whole Latin American region. A trademark application for 2022 suggests that Jeep will re-enter this important segment once more, possibly, it's hard to say, with a Liberty-badged SUV. For now, Filosa says the new Recon and Wrangler S will claw back the much-needed market coverage. Did you guys ever think to yourself, man, what Jeep really needs is another Liberty? Because the last couple we had were such good Jeeps. Like, we just loved them so much that we should bring back the Liberty.
No.
Nah.
It's deep-seated heritage back to whenever they started making it in like 2001.
The heritage of the Liberty.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what? Liberty.
I mean,
Liberty be Liberty.
I love the idea of a Gladiator plug-in hybrid. I think that will be fairly successful.
I love the idea of it because it gives me that much more to mock Jeep guys about, you know?
Well, I'm just saying the hybrid power is kind of cool for that instant torque, but you're not sacrificing not having gas and being stuck with nothing if you run out of fuel or range.
I would say I'm a fan of the hybrid. I've got a RAV4 hybrid, and weight to power ratio, thing will scoot. I also have a 400-mile range.
I have a RAV4 hybrid, but in a Jeep Cherokee, the thing you're really sacrificing as a hybrid is like your dignity. I feel like it's a true cost of a hybrid.
Oh, that's funny. I agree with the comments that everybody said so far. The hybrid seems like it makes the most sense because you don't have to charge. You can just run on gasoline forever. But if you've got it charged, you can run on electric mode if you got a short commute. Or as I understand it, in the Jeeps, you can tell it to not use the batteries at all. And then when you get to the trail, you can push the button, flip the switch, I don't know, toggle something in a dash. And then you can run it on batteries only while you're on the trail.
Yeah, it's a button you push for the 4XCs.
Yeah.
This sounds perfect for hunting and or drive-bys. You really sneak up an electric mode.
The gangsters are in electric cars.
They'll start calling it stealth mode.
Yeah.
I could get behind a new Liberty only if they promise me beforehand a Hellcat Liberty. Then I'm back in on the Liberty. I'm back. Okay. But other than that,
Hellcat
I'm
Liberty,
out.
huh?
I'm out. Or
They don't-
Track Talk Liberty, whatever we're going to call it.
They don't mention anything about compasses either.
I think they're
Compasses or
afraid to
Patriots.
actually even. They're trying to just act like it didn't happen. You know.
It was an accident they want to forget.
Compass Commanders. Remember those Commanders? They look kind of good.
I like the idea of the Commander, but they didn't pull them off very well.
No, they've almost disappeared. Like they just, I don't know if it was cash for clunkers, and even though they were like new then, they still got crushed, but they're just gone.
They were still clunkers.
You can look at them on Facebook Marketplace. They'll be like 3.
You haven't done anything with the Comanche line either. That's something that's not been touched in a good while.
I don't think they'll use that name ever again.
No?
I have a
Just
feeling.
political correctness.
Yes.
They've already mentioned some stuff about Cherokees, but
And
Yeah.
Chief.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, our next news story is about the Ineos Grenadier Quartermaster has just been dropped, and this comes to us from Autoblog. Order books for the Ineos Grenadier Quartermaster are now open. So this is the Ineos Grenadier, but it's got a bed essentially. So a station wagon turned into a pickup truck. This sad news. This is being made in France, and because it's being made overseas, there is the 25% chicken tax that the United States has as a tariff on vehicles that on pickup trucks that come from overseas. And I can't remember the exact specifics of that. I wish I would have looked that up for this news article because they don't go into any further details.
there's some good videos on that. I don't remember who, but it's like a wild, near conspiracy theory level trail of taxes back and forth between us and Germany.
So, no,
Germany wouldn't buy our chicken, or they bought too much chicken. I can't remember what the deal was.
so
It's,
it was West Germany. Yeah, it was. So the chicken tax is a 25% tariff on light trucks imported to the U.S. The U.S. imposed the tariff in 1964 through an executive order by President Lyndon Johnson in retaliation against Europe tariffs on American chicken imports, and that was placed by France and West Germany.
This is the reason why we don't have Hiluxes in the United States. So President Johnson took the Hilux from you, and your
Yep.
parents probably voted for him. So you can blame your dad for making it so that America doesn't have a Hilux.
There you go. So it starts the wagon starts at 71,500, but the Quartermaster pickup starts at 86,900. So that's 21.6% more. So the truck must be a little bit cheaper to produce. So it's not exactly 25% over. So, and if you want the Trailmaster or the Fieldmaster edition, they add $8,000 to the price. So the wheelbase is a foot longer than the wagon, which gives you a bed that's 61.5 inches long. So that's just over 5 feet. So 5-foot bed. Pretty short, but that's typical of mid-sized trucks, 5-foot beds. Payload capacity in the bed is 1,675 pounds. That's a decent payload. Tow rating 7,716, which is the same as the wagon. And they say that the tailgates can support 500 pounds when open. So, insert
Is that a lot?
joke here. Insert joke here. I think so, but I would think that most tailgates should be able to support 500
To
pounds.
say I'm pushing 300. Let's be honest. I'm 300 pounds. So if I sit on the tailgate and then you or Ben sits on
join
the tailgate, we're over the weight limit of the truck's tailgate.
Is it going to collapse? I don't know.
That doesn't seem like a lot. I know I'm a fat American, but wow.
Let's see here. It says a set of 2 rails sit on top of the bed. Is there any pictures of those? A set of 2 rails sit on top of the bed rails, and the floor comes with a utility rail installed. There they are. Those kind of look kind of neat.
I'll see if
You tie stuff off to those.
If they're structural.
That's a good point if they're structural. And if you want quick release tie down rings, it's an $80 option. I feel like those should just be included. So I don't know. And you can get a canvas canopy for it, which is a $2,100 option. And if you get the canvas canopy, the bed rails are omitted for obvious reasons.
Oh, in the Northwest, that would just be a mold collection unit. Like you might invent a new antibiotic, but that's like about it.
I never have understood the canvas canopy thing. It can't keep the dust out. It can't keep the moisture out. I don't know. I don't get it.
It's just direct rain.
They're cheaper. I know that's one reason why people buy them is because they're less expensive.
I know just from watching lots of movies that when you have like large mounted guns in the back and you grab that canopy and you just do that sweeping pull and you yank it off and it's exposed, and then you start taking out aliens. Or
That
something.
sounds like the A-Team.
I mean, just like when the trimmers are coming and you yank the canvas off and then you just start hitting them with a anti-aircraft gun mounted in the back of the truck. It looks super awesome. So I think that's 90% of it, so you can do that yank move and expose whatever's in the bed.
I love the spot for the spare tire.
Do you?
You love that it takes up 32% of the available bed space?
Yeah, it's better than underneath, in my opinion, in some ways. I don't know. It's like I hate and love it, I guess, because I do hate that it takes up bed space, but I like, it's not in some conventional spot.
I'm not going to pretend. I'm not a huge fan of the looks of the SUV, but the Quartermaster, I absolutely love. I'm not afraid to admit it. It looks awesome. Like I think it's super cool.
Yeah, I think I would own this. Unfortunately, it's costs double what any other midsize truck costs.
And,
you can get you can get 2 ZR2s for this.
There's with the canvas top as well.
That one does look like they're hiding a minigun underneath it.
Yeah, that's the whole reason.
The only drivetrain available in the U.S. and Canada is the gas-powered 3-liter inline 6, which comes from BMW. You can only get an 8-speed automatic in the U.S. market also, but you can get the 6-cylinder diesel in other markets. It's got a 2-speed transfer case, locking center differential, and you can get optional locking front and rear differentials. They claim that it has the best approach, breakover, and departure angle of any other series production pickup truck, but they haven't given us those specs yet. And I'm curious what those are and how they achieve that. I guess there's not much front overhang. There isn't much rear overhang. I don't know how they do that. I'd have to look at the wheelbase of this compared to another midsize truck. So,
are F-150s considered midsize?
No.
They are, right? They're full size.
Full size.
That's a full size truck. You got to compare this
what's
to
F-350 if F-150 is full size? It's fullest size, biggie sized, McHuge.
McHuge. It's still a full size truck. And it's also still considered a light. An F-350 is still considered a light truck. It's not even a medium duty truck yet. So
they're just comparing this against Tacomas and Gladiators.
So they've got. I was curious on that myself because I was like, how does this fall under as a light truck? Because they have classes 1 through 8 on. So class 1 and 2 is light duty. 3 through 6 is medium duty, and 7 and 8 heavy duty, and it has to do with the overall length, bed capacity, and a couple other factors. So I
just don't see how this has better approach angles and departure angles than like a ZR2 on 35s.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because they have that little extra in there where they call it better departure and approach angles than any other series production pickup. Maybe they don't consider the AEV version a series production. I don't know.
Well, that's the Bison. The ZR2 is still like just a model. I don't. I do feel like you're right that their wording here is somehow basically making this the only one in its class. So you get to say that.
Yeah. The spec sheet show that it has 10.3 inches of ground clearance and 31.5 inches of wading depth in the water. And you can, if you've purchased one, you can expect it by the end of this year.
It's very Land Rover-esque.
So the guy who built these, if you've not heard of him, he approached Land Rover and said, "Hey, I'd like to buy the rights to the Defender since you aren't making them anymore." And they said no. And he's a oil magnate, and so he said, "Okay, I'll make my own." And they're pretty sweet. They did a lot of thinking, and there's a lot of utility in these vehicles.
Yeah, we got to look at one in person at SEMA, and it was really cool. And there's lots of little Easter eggs with screw yous to Land Rover.
I don't know why these big companies like tell billionaires no. Like they need to just make the price so high that the billionaire declines. You know what I mean? Because otherwise he's like, "Oh, I'm going after you now." Like you made it personal. Just Elon Musk was like, "Hey, Russia, can we buy a bunch of rockets?" And they're like, "Aha!" Laughed at him. He's like, "Fine, I'll make my own." And now his are 10,000 times better. Like, you need to big companies need to learn not to mess with these guys that are controlling world economies. It's kind of a dumb move.
Well, you should check them out, Thomas. They're pretty slick.
Some of our instructors in the I-4 that work for OEX were doing a lot of testing and evaluation with Grenadier. So
okay,
I'm sure I'll get my hands on one when I go a little bit further east. They've been doing it for about the last year and a half. So,
I hope so. I hope you get your hands on one.
Yep.
Well, let's start this off with our Fast 5 facts. Do you like new or old vehicles?
Old.
Summer or winter camping?
Summer.
Rock, sand, snow, or mud?
Sand.
Favorite vehicle brand?
Toyota.
Favorite tire?
BFG TKO2s.
There it is. All right, tell us how you got started in off-roading.
Not by choice.
Oh.
The Army said we're not driving on roads, so learn how to drive a Humvee and figure it out. Between that and doing a little bit of off-roading to hide from the law in West Virginia when we were off doing what we were doing, taking a trail, back in high school, go drink Mad Dog 2020, whatever we were doing. And yeah, I said it. Yeah, a lot of my OJT was in the military driving off-road vehicle platforms, and then when I was in conventional forces, once you become a certain rank, you become a master driver if you're voluntold to go do that. So you start to do driving instruction on the vehicle platforms. That's how it all started. And then my first long-range off-roading trip was probably the invasion of Iraq in 2003. All in a Humvee.
You drive all the way there from here?
Yeah. Oh, not here. Not from here. From Kuwait all the way north to Baghdad. Yeah. That was a long haul. Sleep was optional.
What was your most embarrassing moment on the trail?
After giving a student, and it wasn't necessarily me, but it was what a student did after I told him not to do it. Hey, be very cognizant of what you're doing backing up my truck. I need you to move it so I can hook up some recovery gear. Do the following things and you'll be all right. He does not do the following things, backs my truck up into a tree stump and bends my entire bed, which is now why I drive a flatbed Tacoma. It was cheaper to do that than get the actual bed replaced by about $2,600 cheaper.
What? Wow. Ouch.
Yeah. And he was only going like 3 miles an hour, just backing it up off the trail and like, hey, do these things, cut this way, avoid, and go in between these two trees and park it. Yeah, he didn't listen at all. He just like drove right for the tree stump.
Just straight back.
He straight back and started to turn, and then he hit the perfect spot right on the corner of the bumper. So it bent it up in 2 places and creased it in 2 places. So, yeah.
I've had someone direct me into a stump one time.
Yeah, that guy's a jerk.
This guy right there. Right there. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
You got
So
the deal.
most body shops don't want to do actual body work anymore or don't know how to do body work. They just want to change parts and spray paint.
Yeah.
So it was going to be like $4,600 or something crazy for a new bed.
Wow.
And my wife found a company that makes flatbeds, aluminum flatbeds, and they had one for Tacoma-sized vehicles. So with the install, I just had them chop 6 inches of it off. It's 5.5 foot bed now, and pretty sweet. Up 200 pounds lighter too.
Oh, that's a plus.
Yeah. So great trail rig. Works great for me.
Leroy Overlanding comments, treated 2x6s are pretty cheap, Coy. I'm completely lost, Leroy.
Maybe he's talking about making your own flatbed.
Yeah, a lot of guys around here make their own flatbeds.
Yeah, but he has my name as if I built a flatbed. I'm confused.
Oh,
All right, Leroy, stop being dumb and explain your question.
What's your biggest win on the trail?
maybe not necessarily on the trail, but one I'm proudest of would be probably 2010 on an operation, and we lost a 32,000 pound armored vehicle platform. We were convoying into a target, and it decided to go elsewhere by itself with some guys in it. Once we got to the target and objective, we figured out, hey, that truck's gone. Where'd it go? So everyone was busy and occupied. So I just took my guys, me and one vehicle, and went off in the middle of Baghdad and found them. And they had driven off into a ditch. Six wheel vehicle was what I was driving, 32,000 pound vehicle, and the other 32,000 pound vehicle was off in kind of like a water ravine or water ditch. So middle of the night, doing a recovered the assets, and then realized in the middle of this, we're alone and we have no one around, and the village is waking up all around us. We're by ourselves, about 2 miles away from the rest of the main force. So when that dawned on me, I'm like, oh, we should probably not be here right now. We need to leave quickly. And luckily recovered the vehicle, got the guys, and got back to the rest of the formation, and made it back to where we were going. But yeah, we took some injuries that rotation or that objective that night, just due to accidents and stuff like that. But they tend to like dig holes in the roads where they know we're going to come, and then you just drive it along, and then all of a sudden Humvee disappears into a ditch. Yeah.
Whoa.
Because you can't see it with night vision goggles, you don't have real good depth perception, dust and everything else, and all of a sudden the vehicle in front of you just gone, disappears. Yeah.
And does everybody just drive over top of them?
No.
Like in the
everybody stops
cartoons?
and figures out what's going on. But yeah, that vehicle just took a wrong turn and continued on into the town or into the city, and we're like, huh, that's not right. We're missing one. But,
wow.
yeah, little hairy, nothing crazy happened, but luckily got that piece of equipment out quickly and recovered it, got it out of the ditch. Nobody got hurt. But, that was a 32,000 pound vehicle, pretty heavy duty recovery there.
What did you use recovery tools wise to recover it out of the ditch?
Very large kinetic rope to get it unstuck, and then I used it in a bridle figuration after that to pull it the rest of the way out, and then it drove out under its own power.
I'm going to be honest, I've never been in the military, but I had almost this exact scenario in Mud Runner, the video game. It was very similar. So basically the same.
Basically the same.
Mine was in Russia, so scarier, honestly, from my living.
Was that when you almost joined the army?
I'm part of the almost joined platoon unit, whatever you call it. So, yeah.
Do you have a favorite place to wheel in the United States?
It's tossed up between here and Nevada. West Virginia or Nevada. Just depends on what kind of terrain I'm in the mood for.
What do you like about Nevada?
I just like the fact that the desert's dry. The terrain is open enough to see where you're going, but anywhere you go, it's going to be challenging enough to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
West Virginia, you're on a trail, and if it's summertime, you're probably not going to see more than a couple hundred yards down the road before another turn comes, so you don't really see your path of travel. And then the canopy and everything like that around here in the forest, it's pretty dense. So unless you're on a ridge line or somewhere, you're not going to see your route at distance. So you kind of got to know where you're going or have good GPS, and good signal. Nevada, you can kind of wing it and get away with it. And you can move a little bit faster in Nevada, depending on where you're at.
That's true.
Any places that you want to go, but you just haven't got to go yet?
Australia. I got gypped out of that trip. Long story short, we were going to load up and do a training operation and go do long-range movements across the outback in our vehicle platform. We're all schooled up, trained up, ready to go, and we were going to take some unique long-range desert mobility vehicles out there and test them. And it's going to be probably about a month and a half long trip. And we found out that the 2 aircraft that were going to take us there had to be rerouted and redirected so the current president at the time and his family could go on vacation to Hawaii. That took priority.
You probably almost felt as upset as me as when my Starlink satellite got delayed by 6 months because Ukraine needed them more than I did. It was super painful. And I'm still pretty upset about it.
Yeah, they needed those aircraft to haul their logistics package and their vehicles and whatever else. We're like, that's what 2 C-17s got rerouted for. Really? We thought the guy was joking, and when he came down from the air wing, we're like, you're messing with us. No, guys, don't shoot me. That really happened. It's like, a month and a half's worth of planning and getting our vehicles and stuff together. We were all excited about it.
I gotta mention Plow Guy Dave here in the comments. He said that Australia is on his bucket list, but he wants to go to shoot camels. I listened to your episode on that one, and that was quite the episode. And when you go, let me know so I can come down there and shoot camels with you. Camels are a pest in Australia for anybody listening that doesn't know that. And they if you have land, they all but they require you to exterminate the pests. So
wait. So it's like hog hunting, but for camels?
Yeah.
Have you seen the pictures where they pile up all the hogs, or that way up in Canada where they pile up all the seals after they bludgeon them all? Can you imagine just having a 12, 15-foot pile of camels and you're like standing there with your rifle? By the time you're 80, the picture of you with the mountain of camels, but like you'd be the scariest guy in the city you lived in. Every kid would be like, yeah, I guess he killed 32 camels in one day. They'd just be like, nope, not walking on his lawn.
See, if Australia,
they kill more than 32 camels in a day, Coy, just so you know.
Right. Well, I just throwing out numbers.
Yeah,
if
they kill
smarten up on their gun laws, they could have like a whole tourist industry out of it.
That would be amazing,
right? Like helicopter camel hunting and
yes.
I just didn't know that camels were a nuisance animal in Australia. I mean, I've been all around Middle East, and they're just like modes of transportation, pack mules, or whatever. But didn't know you could hog hunt them.
How's that for a record?
My gosh.
Wait, is that one man, 430 in one day, one guy, Plow Guy Dave? Or is that like a group of guys? Because that is insanely impressive.
All I can think of is like the mountains of like buffalo skulls back when they were.
That has to be from 430 in one day. Has to be from a plane or a helicopter.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Last we talked,
two people. Sorry, it's 2 people. Him and a hired man. So that means he only
helicopter pilot though.
He only killed 215 camels that day if we average it out.
God dang.
And you have to shoot a big enough gun to take down a camel too. It sounded like he used a 308 the most. Imagine shooting a 308 over 200 times in one day.
Ouch. Shoulder hurts.
Honestly,
Yeah.
you have taken more life by the pound than many dictators at that point. Like you could actually, if we're just going by weight, you could actually see where you placed probably.
There's some World War II numbers.
Yes. Yeah. All right, let's try it. I mean, that's amazing. So, but yeah, we got to bring this back.
All right.
We talked about camels all night.
So last we talked, you were planning on going to the West Virginia Adventure Travel Day at the state capitol. What was it like? Were you representing anyone while you were there?
Yeah, our organization, Country Roads Coalition, hosts it with Senator Mark Maynard. And the intent is to get industry from the adventure tourism market here in the state down at the Capitol. So when legislature's in session, they can come out and interact with local businesses and see what they do, how legislation affects them. Just get face time with local businesses who are in the adventure travel segment in West Virginia. Also business to business networking, things of that nature. So we had a pretty good turnout. About 70 to 80 vendors showed up. We do a get together the night prior to where vendors, participants, sponsors, and everything like that can show up, and legislators will come over for about an hour and a half to 2 hours just to mingle and have conversations and talk about things that are important to the adventure tourism industry here in the state. So it went very well. Had a good turnout. A lot of vendors showed up. We were able to actually bring a lot of our vehicles into the Capitol area and take photographs with the off-road vehicles, off-road rigs, with the backdrop of the state capitol and its gold dome. So a lot of people really got a big kick out of that. Not a lot of state capitals will allow folks to do that.
Yeah, it was really cool that Senator Mark Maynard was talking about that, and it sounded like a neat event. I'd love to see that happen in more states.
Yeah, it's been pretty well received. You get a lot of turnout. The year before, I think we did like a trail ride, but we had so many people show up for the trail ride. It was easily 100 vehicles, and that was a big movement of vehicles, and it was just the accordion effect the entire trip. So we didn't go that route this time, just due to time and the amount of people who wanted to do it. But we'll probably have it a little bit more organized and maybe something smaller package of a trail ride or something like that, either maybe before, because we did it after. And it time of year is pretty cold. People don't want to stay out that late in the cold weather, but a lot of participants showed up. We'll try to figure it out again next year.
Good. What got you started in building a guide and training business?
I was talking to a local company here in West Virginia years ago, and I was doing testing and evaluation. I wanted some routes. They already knew the lay of the land, things of that nature. So I wanted to scout routes and things of that nature. And I was kind of, at the time, kind of blown off. I'm like, okay, cool. I can do that myself. So about 2015, 16 time frame, I started my own company. I was up there doing testing and evaluation. I'd use West Virginia as a training ground for a lot of things. So I used all those routes I developed during the training and the testing and built my own route system throughout lower southern West Virginia. And then when I retired, I started to run a training center down in lower southern West Virginia, southwestern West Virginia. Had about 12,000 acres of property that units would come up and train on. I did that for about 2 years for the National Guard. And then I do guided trips and things of that nature. So it's always been in my wheelhouse to be off-road driving, things of that nature, and training and teaching. So it was going to be the retirement gig, but I kind of got pulled back into the defense acquisition side of things and still do that as well. So I kind of split my time 50-50 between defense contracting, defense consulting, and then doing guided trips and training. Kind of changed a little bit. Civilian courses are looking more into, they want the driving training, they want the recovery training, and things of that nature. There's also a crossover between that and the preparedness training, how to outfit your vehicle to do long range movements, to live off of it, to sustain yourself. And I had a group of guys last year see the night vision, or not the night vision, but the infrared lights on my truck. I'm like, hey, what are those? Well, I drive with night vision goggles when I'm doing military training. Like, oh, that's a thing. Can you teach us how to do it? So I ended up doing 6 classes last year to civilians who have night vision goggles who go shooting on the range and stuff. They want to learn how to drive their vehicle, black out their vehicle, equip it with infrared lights. So that became a thing last year, and I think it's continuing to grow. So it just happened to be something I'm a niche trainer in. It's a very niche thing. So went from there.
Where did you learn all the skills to offer these services?
20 years in the military.
So
My
not
first-
running a video game.
No, I missed that one. No, missed that
Dang.
one. 20 years in the military. I was a conventional Army track vehicle, wheel vehicle mechanic my first 9 years. And I'm fortunate enough to be selected to be a unit member in one of the Army's counterterrorism special missions units for about 7 years. So a tier 1 organization, and did a lot of deployment with those guys where I was squadron mechanic and assault driver of all the vehicles when we go do night operations. So anything from low-vis vehicles to long-range desert mobility vehicles, light-skinned 6-wheel vehicles out in the desert for 10 to 14 days, to armored vehicle platforms, in-town operations, completely armored, heavy weapons, close air support, and
Oh,
hunt
hang
people.
on. I have
Yeah.
to ask. Did you get to drive that like sandrail looking light attack vehicle that's in every Navy SEAL advertisement?
No, but I know where they're in storage at. Those were some very
Chenworth or
old equipment.
something.
Chinawa.
Chinawa.
Did those
Mhm.
just get used to film the ads and they get parked?
No, those were their long-range desert mobility platform there for a while in the late 80s, early 90s. They belonged to the SEALs.
Those look so awesome.
Yeah. Very uncomfortable.
Yeah, especially for that.
Are
night.
any of them comfortable?
M88 is a heavy track vehicle. Very, very heavy track vehicle. 70 or 68,000 pound vehicle. Tank tracks. It recovers other tanks. Had a very comfortable driver's seat.
Is that
That
because
road like a
it
Cadillac.
crushes everything under it?
It can, but it's mainly designed to go recover 60 class tanks or M1 Abrams. But yeah, I did that for 7 years in that unit, and then when I got moved on from that unit, I went over to Special Forces Command and managed all their vehicle programs. So anything U.S. SOCOM or Special Forces, any of the branches are riding around in right now that's tan or Hilux or Land Cruiser, I was involved in that program and helped develop the right requirements, do testing evaluations. We modernized the U.S. SOCOM fleet for the next 10 years.
So, what kind of trainings do you offer?
Say that again.
What type of trainings do you offer?
Anything from vehicle equipping to vehicle driving, vehicle dynamics, safe recovery. I get a lot of new people in who just either got a Jeep or got a Tacoma, and they're just novices and beginners on the civilian side of the house. So we'll teach off-road driving skills, emergency driving skills, things of that nature. We'll do basic to advanced recovery. Anything for vehicles without winches, all the way to fully equipped vehicles with winches. We do advanced recovery, advanced rigging. And for those who want to learn preparedness driving or off-road night vision driving, we're starting to get into that. I teach it to the defense side of the house anyway. And it's been a good uptick in interest in that as of last year.
So you also do some guided trips. Can you tell us what those are like, and maybe even give us a hint? I don't know if it's top secret where you take your people or not. Maybe an idea of where you drag people around in the country.
Sure, I'm located in the central West Virginia area near between Parkersburg and Clarksburg. And if folks want to come out for a day trip, they'll come in. We'll do a couple hours of training, some high lift jack training, things of that nature. Then we'll just do a round robin, come back to where we started, all the way up to a 5-day trip. And it'll be from point A to point B to C, and try to take people around. It's like what you call them, like state parks. We have campgrounds, so we'll drive the day, then bed down to state park, do some training on the trails. So it can be anywhere from 3 to 5 days. If it's just a class and somebody wants to do a short class, and hit some trails, we'll do that for 2 days. But the guided trips are usually pretty long, about 7 to 8 hours worth of driving a day, bed down for the night, campfire, hang out, have a few beers, and bed down for the night. Pretty good time.
We also noticed you're on the board for a few other organizations, the I4WDTA, the West Virginia County Roads Coalition, and the Ritchie County West Virginia Tourism Board. What kind of duties does all this require?
Well, I'll start off with the I4WDTA, and that's an organization. The acronym is International Four-Wheel Drive Training Association. It's roughly maybe 110, 120 trainers internationally. Usually, we'll have people who will apply. They'll come to a testing for certification. They'll show up for a week and do 2 to 3 days of academics to where they teach back to us, show us their teaching skills, show us their knowledge. You have to be proficient in, I think it's 14 or 15 modules of study, anything from adult basic education to land navigation to recovery, a whole plethora of topics they have to be proficient in. Then we go into the field evaluation portion where they have to do hands-on and teach us. And then there's a culmination exercise where they're dealt some scenario-driven testing, and then it ends up with a 4-hour exam, 500-question 4-hour exam to obtain certification. So it's not just show up, get a T-shirt, and participate, and get a patch or something. We usually
You say
have
500 questions.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And this was originally started, I think, late 70s, early 80s by Bill Burke. If you're familiar with who Bill Burke is, he founded it.
Oh, I
So
didn't know
he's
he founded it. Okay.
Oh yeah, him and then another gentleman called Chris Cole. He's been the president for okay, I don't even know how long, but he just stepped onto the board of directors. So there's 6 of us on the board of directors. Kurt Williams is on our board of directors. He's the vice president. Kurt Williams from Expedition Overland. He's on that board of directors with us. He's a certified trainer. But yeah, the intent was to have every trainer peer evaluated by the other association trainers, so everybody's teaching the same thing to the same standard. So we have curriculum that is all one page. This is how we all teach, best practices. So anywhere you go and you find an I4WDTA trainer, we're all teaching the same thing the same way, effectively and efficiently.
That's important.
We also run things with industry like product recommendation programs. So they'll send in their products for evaluation for 3 or 4 months at a time. Winch companies, High Lift Jack, Max Tracks, all the big name brands will send stuff in, and it'll be evaluated for a long period of time amongst our instructors. It's not one of those, hey, give it to us, we'll tell you if we like it or not. It's, hey, we're going to put it through its paces. You're going to get a test and evaluation report. You're going to get it back and then see pros and cons of your product, good, bad, or indifferent. So, as far as the Country Roads Coalition goes, it's really an advocacy group that Senator Maynard's part of, another Jerry Bain, a couple other local gentlemen, Brian Holmes, all local guys who are very avid off-roaders. And the intent is to monitor access of our trail systems, like our county roads that may fall off the Department of Highways maintenance books, or closures, or illegal gating. It's really an advocacy group to fight for our access to those trails that everyone wants to drive. We'll petition through a swatting system through Department of Highways and go to local meetings for closures and things of that nature. So we have reporters, agents in every county. We have a representative in every county that knows the local lay of the land and local politics and what's going on. So they're able to report up and say, hey, we've got a closure. We need support to protect this road from closure, things of that nature. And then CRC is also doing the Adventure Travel Day piece, kind of hosting that. We're sponsors of that. As far as the Ritchie County Tourism Board goes, it's a small board. It's a very small county, but it's very rich in off-road trails. And I moved to the county probably a year and a half ago, and being an adventure tourism guide business and things of that nature, I went in and introduced myself. And like, hey, we have 2 open seats. You're in the adventure tourism business. We'd like to bring adventure tourism to our local county. Would you mind sitting on the board? So I said yes, and it's expanded into the county over. Starting to do a couple projects for opening up ATV trails and turning them into OHV trails. Getting sponsorship through Tread Lightly. I'm a Tread Lightly trainer, so we're pretty heavily tied in with Tread Lightly in the region. Best practices and advocacy. So got my hands in a little bit of everything around here.
Yeah, you do. You're muted, Ben.
Darn it. So you kind of answered it with that previous question, but with your position on those boards, are you able to help on like keeping trails open and open up new ones there in West Virginia?
The hardest fight is to keep them open. It's probably a bridge too far to try to reopen anything that's already been abandoned. So we're trying to protect what we have, keep country roads open for travel. But yeah, really monitoring what the Department of Highways does. There's a lot of things that they'll try to squeak by because they just don't want to maintain something. They don't have the bandwidth, the resources, and they view it as, oh, this is one we don't need to maintain because it's never traveled. But if we advocate and say, hey, no, we're using it for recreational travel as businesses, not just cheap club wanting to travel through, it kind of carries more weight when we have tax-paying businesses using those trails to bring adventure tourism to the state. So it kind of carries more weight. Oh, that's open for commercial use. We'll leave that one alone. There's a lot of illegal gating that goes on in the states. People think that, hey, this trail is never used, so they just throw a gate on it because it bothers their cattle or whatever. So there's a lot of back and forth keeping those county roads actually open for travel. There's a lot of back and forth with landowners and things of that nature. So we let the system work for us. Report that up, goes to the system about 14 days. If something's not done, then local law enforcement goes out and does their part and takes it down or tells the owner to take it down. But at the end of the day, it's basically just fighting for access or maintaining access to our county roads so we can bring tourism and things of that nature through and enjoy the back roads.
So you kind of talked about it a little bit when you mentioned the night vision driving. You've got another company that caters mostly to law enforcement and military. Do you want to talk a little bit about that one?
Sure, just short and sweet. It's Blackside Solutions LLC, and I separated it from the civilian company to keep everything clean and military facing. We do defense consulting. If a company wants to get into the business of dealing with the government, teach them how to do business, get all their certifications for pursuing defense contracts, do training with military organizations and units, do anything from driver's training to recovery training, things of that nature. And then they'll come up here to do their training, but I'll be a guide for them to conduct their long range movements, things of that nature. A lot of it's under night vision goggles, night driving, things like that. And then also provide equipment to law enforcement units, military special operations units, anything from recovery equipment, infrared lighting, anything you can think of that would be mobility related. We pretty much carry and can provide that either onesie twosie items or we can package it together for pre-deployment, things of that nature.
All right, we got one last question. Where can our listeners find you at?
Primarily on the website. You got westvirginiaoverland.com and then blacksidesolutions.com. Under Facebook and Instagram, it's the same thing, wv.overland. Those are the two main places. I don't really do anything on YouTube, just by nature of previous work. So.
All right, guys. Next week we have our all about the 6th Gen 4Runner. Sounds like nobody likes it. I'm not 100% sure why. I thought it looked pretty good, but it is not being well received. So we'll see how this episode goes. And I just want to mention the Let's Go Hunt podcast 67 is about camel. What would be the word? Camel culling. If that's something you're interested in, go check out their episode 67. I haven't listened to that one yet, but I'm headed straight there actually after this.
It's a good one. It's long, but it's good. Yeah. Yeah, they're another show on the Firearms Radio Network to check out. And we want to thank everybody who listens to us weekly and hanging out with us in the live group. You guys are always a lot of fun. Had we not had this live group, no one would have ever found out about camel culling.
Harvesting.
So we appreciate you guys harvesting. Well, that's only harvesting if you're keeping it, right?
If you eat it,
Uh,
can you eat
yeah.
camel?
Invasive species clearing.
There you go. According to that episode, the camel tastes just as good as the beef that they raise on their cow farm. So,
What about their toes?
I was waiting for that to come at some point.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that.
Make sure you share us with your friends. Help us grow, and God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren Colby Valve and 4 Patriots to see all of their great products. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our Linktree account or by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, and be safe and courteous. Thanks for listening.
You know, I forgot to ask. So Safe Extract would be like one of those products that you guys through the I4WDTA would like you endorse, right?
They've been through the PRP program, and 3 or 4 years ago. So Safe Extract's one of my clients that I carry on the mobility product line. His products are actually fielded to the entire Special Forces Regiment and their Advanced Skills Company. And the Safe Extract equipment, training, and application are all adopted by SF Command, Ranger Regiment, and portions of the SEAL team.
Do you guys endorse Spin Tires?
Say what?
You endorse Spin Tires? The video game?
No.
Dang it.
No, but